Hi guys, welcome to another edition of GamingNight. Tonight, I was talking to you about doing my review for God of War, and I finally finished the game. So, before I go into my full my score, what I give it, I'll talk a little about the game. If you're familiar with God of War series, God of War 1 and 2, and if you play the PSP one, it might help a little bit because it gives you a little background history of Kratos. But anyways, the controls are pretty much the same. Combat all is the same pretty much. They did a nice job changing it up a little bit. The way you get magical items and your spells. Your spells are attached to your item that you get, like like the Chains of Chaos, like you had in the other ones. Well, instead of having certain buttons do certain attacks, you have to equip the certain weapon to do that magic attack. So it's kind of nice. So it gives it a reason to start putting your start using other weapons in battle. Another thing I noticed, I liked what they did was they have a easier time to use items like the weapons. You hit the L button and you tap the controller. So you use L1 and then the square and all them do different ones. Like the triangle one was the Helios, and then each one's got a spot. So once you, I think it's L1. And the same thing. They did the same thing with the weapons. You the directional buttons select the weapon you're going to use. So it's really quick. You can change weapons throughout in battle with no problem. You just hit up for one weapon, down for another, and it's really easy to use. And I really like that because instead of having to go to the menu and select in the weapon and all that stuff, it's all done flat out. And another thing they did in this game is they utilize a lot of the different weapons. You're not just using one weapon throughout the game or using it for a few seconds. I've literally used a lot of the weapons more than just for a few minutes at a time. They actually made you use it because each weapon has a different strategy on how to use it, but some of them actually take out enemies a little bit better if you use a certain one. Some of them have a longer reach. Some have special abilities attached to them that can take down monsters quicker. And so speaking of that, the combat, all that, the game is epic scale combat. You're gonna have a lot more familiar monsters in the combat this time around, but they got a new look to them. They look beefier, so it's kind of nice. They've took a lot of the enemies that were in the previous ones, added those into the game, included some new ones as well. And unlike the other games where for the scale, like if you're climbing on a monster and stuff like that, it just, the background changed or whatever. Well, this time around, the set pieces aren't just for looks anymore. You're gonna be like on some of them. You're gonna be on top of one, and if it lifts its arm up, you're gonna be in the position. So you're gonna see it upside down view and stuff, and sometimes it'll be sideways. So you really feel like you're actually on this thing. There's a lot more bosses in this game. I like all the bosses. There's like one of the bosses in the game that I felt that was really easy to beat up, but I guess it kind of balanced the fact that it took a while to get to the boss anyways. So I guess they wanted to give you an easy boss and stuff like that just to break the monotony, because this game is a lot harder than the other ones. But the sheer size of the bosses there's like one per chapter, I think, at least. And some of these mini other creatures in the game feel like bosses because they're so big. I mean, I didn't know how they were gonna top God of War 2, but they've managed to up the ante on this one. And another thing I liked besides the boss battle is how they're playing on the whole emotion with Kratos and how his characters, they're kind of developing his character a little bit more. And this time around he's makes a few mistakes, but when all is said and done, he tries to correct everything. So I don't want to give anything away, but it seems like he's starting to have a little bit more care for certain aspects. But he's still Kratos. He still wants to get vengeance and stuff. So that's done real good. They got a lot of replayability in this game. You have the challenge of the things. You got costumes unlock. You got special items you can unlock that you can find. They're like special items. Now back to the God of War 1 and 2. There is not as many puzzles in God of War 3 as there was in God of War 1. There's more than there was in God of War 2, but there are some. But the puzzles they do have, they actually fit. They're not just thrown in there. So it makes more sense. Like you might do a puzzle that's to unlock a room or something, rather than just doing some puzzle that's does absolutely nothing but unlocks a door or something. This one actually, each one of these things in here actually contributes to the level you're in, and does a switch or sets up something else, so you can progress. Another thing I like is how their items in the game actually are used for puzzles and not puzzles, but certain elements in the game. Like they did a lot of playing with the lighting effects in this game. So there will be some areas where you're in dark areas. You're gonna have to utilize your the Helios thing a lot, so it's in order to see. They have some like flight scenes where you're flying through as Kratos and stuff. So there's a few of those sprinkled in. So instead of just doing fighting, you're actually maneuvering your Kratos guy through like these tunnels and stuff. That's pretty cool. But all in all, this game is really epic. I really think that they've succeeded in making a great game, and it's a conclusion to the series. I'm not going to give away why it's a conclusion, but I think that they wrapped this series up, and if anything, they're probably going to continue the story after Kratos. If not, maybe, sometime later after Kratos and stuff. But as for anyways, now, my final verdict of the game, I give it a 9.8. It's not perfect because there's always room for improvement, but it was a really great game. I would have gave it a 10, but if especially if they're making another one, they're always going to make it better and better. So it's always got to leave that room for improvement. But otherwise, this is a Sony PS3 pickup for all those that are wanting a game that's action-packed, violent, or just new to the God of War series. 3 is a definite pickup. Recommend it. I think it's going to be PS3 Game of the Year. That or Heavy Rain, depending on... but this one definitely appealed to a lot more people. Heavy Rain only will appeal to people that like those kind of games. But anyways, besides the point, it's a great game. Go out and get it. Thanks for watching.